against one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We're going to start with, let's see, the council member swearing in of the council. So, Chuck, if you want to come forward.
You swear. You can swear or affirm. Captain Barber. My participation in this is entirely ceremonial symbolic of the books at Supervisor Barber's office and before Supervisor Mike Thomas's office regarding the town councils. If town councils didn't exist, I think we have to create them anew. It's people who volunteer their time to go to the community. They do not answer to the supervisor's office. We don't decide who is worthy to sit on the town council. It's they follow the bylaws that have been established for the council. They answer to the community on behalf of the community of Acton. So, Mr. Don Laird, Ms. Jacqueline Aaron, Ms. Pam Walker, Ms. Jim Perkins, and Mr. Jeremiah Owens. Please raise your right hand and sing. I do. Do you pledge to serve the residents of Acton and uphold community ideals? I do. Do you pledge to be a responsible, forthright, dedicated, and honest member of the Acton Town Council, listening to all community ideas and concerns? I do. As a representative for Los Angeles County Supervisor, I hereby charge you to uphold the principle and spirit of the words you have just read. So congratulations to all.
Thank you.
You know, last time I said that.
Well, good news. This also took that people. All right. We're going to move forward with community comments. So this is for non-agenda items only. So if you have something and it's not on the agenda, now we're done.
Yeah. Did anyone go to the Southern California Edison Center, the community center?
When during the wind event?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Was there firewood there?
There was.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Because I saw that and I kicked myself for not.
Yes, they did. So to recap what they did, you could go get firewood, they had blankets, some snacks, gallon jugs of water, ice, like coupons for bags of ice. They took your ID to take that info, and it was like one trip per household.
But in what world is the logic is they're shutting down your fire?
Yes.
But they're going to give me firewood.
Correct.
To burn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, what's your food?
Yeah. Or that they were shutting down all that. When I did talk to the gentleman there about life was being shut down when they did all the upgrades, he said, well, there's thresholds, is what he said. So I said,
Well, what threshold?
well, I have questions because at that point, it's like, this wasn't a once in a lifetime upgrades to have gone through and they're not difference.
Particularly
We've not had an hour shot.
Well, but also keep in mind, last 2 years were pretty wet.
Sure, yeah.
That's fine.
Sure, but my concern was around the fact that he was talking about the winds being above the threshold, not meeting the standards they're set for, because the standards are pretty high. And I don't think we're having hurricanes wind.
Well, that's the problem. That's the centerpiece of the comments when we comment. SPS reports. They probably still won't be out for a week or so, and then we have 10 or 15 days to comment on it. And so,
Yeah.
looking at all the wind data to prove that it was inappropriate what they did, it is a really essential part of analyzing if it was appropriate for them. Another sin in my mind that they committed was, as soon as the PSPS notice came out that it looked like Bootlegger was going to be shut down and shoveled, or before that, specifically, I need an updated map, because they were saying segments are going to be shut down that I didn't even have a map for. So my map was 3 years old, and they've made changes since then. And as far as I know, unless something came in the last
No,
days.
he said by the end of this week.
So, yeah, so that's a problem because,
That doesn't help us.
yeah, when they're telling us, you don't know what segment you're on, and then they say, well, it's fine because we only notify you if you're going to be passing it. Their maps are erroneous.
The other complaint.
And then another, before I get all that, another problem is that they're cutting power to the folks in Crown Meadows, or threatening to cut power for folks in Crown Meadows. They're running from the substation. So we have a lot of complaints, I think, potentially to make about this last PSPS event, but I was disappointed this time that nobody contacted the town council. Emails saying, hey, my power went on, whatever, hey, went back on, or whatever, or they said my power's off, but it's not off.
I did send, I think, yeah, so my complaint was that for 48 hours through the event, I like going up to the event, I got notices that they were going to shut off the power any minute, like every hour.
And they're not supposed to do that either.
And so I'm not kidding, I probably got 50 notices, where it was like every hour, they were going to turn it off any minute, like, okay, waiting, nothing, another hour goes by, any minute now, we're turning off. It's like, man, this is, like, just turn it off. Or I'll turn it off.
Then what I would really appreciate is if you could, and if anybody else was affected by this, and if you're on social media, you put the word out on this, to just take a few minutes, write to the town council. I got 30 of these for 20 hours, and I was like exhausted. I couldn't leave my house. So it's like, whatever the impact was on you.
Yeah.
Because the procedures that have been set up for this PS event is supposed, first of all, supposed to avoid that.
Yes.
Second of all, if the wind thresholds aren't anywhere near where they're supposed to be, then they shouldn't be doing these things either. So, so anyway, so for us to be able to credibly comment on everything that's happening, and going forward, my understanding is the PUC is going to really pound on utilities hard if they screw up, because they've had 3 years to get it right now, or 5 years to get it right now. So if somebody mess up, then there's no more margin for them. Their hands are on the block.
We did have that other, last time there was a PSP's event, where I think only maybe down or bootlegger, like, that's certainly down the rest of that. That was, I felt, different than this time, because I think I got one notice saying, hey, there's a PSP, we might have a traffic car. But
Yeah.
then they had this included. This was like nonstop for like 2 days.
Yeah, the meetings, I think,
Well, I'll show you, text messages, phone calls.
if you're free to, if you feel comfortable sending messages, send them in a file that from the website, and what I do is I redact people's names, so it's always kept there.
There is a Facebook group as well, that deals with the power outages out here, and I know there were lots of new written like, what is this nonsense? And then like, well, yeah, big generator, well, what, like, we need no power to go out, now it's out, when is it coming back on?
Oh, so they didn't even get.
Correct. So there's a gap too, it looks like in new people who need whether it's auto signed up or whatever, that, so we can.
Yes,
we can
somehow I need to, well,
I don't want to take it, but yeah.
we have to be able
To
I have to
respond.
get all that stuff. If somebody can help me get, I don't have time to get all that stuff together, but if somebody can get it together for me, I can make sure it's in our office.
How do you get yours?
Exactly.
How do you get your notices?
Edison has every contact information possible, including emails,
Never get a text.
phone calls, and text.
I get only an email.
And they're literally go all the same time, so they're firing off. I would get text message, followed immediately by a phone call, followed immediately by a tweet, and then every hour.
Yeah.
But with us, what really aggravated me was I'm getting messages. But then all of a sudden on Wednesday night at 8:20, I'm watching TV.
Yeah.
And the electricity goes out.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then I get on the weather app, on the weather channel, the wind is decreasing.
Okay.
And it's now down below 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they shut my electric, they shut off the day before when it was actually at 39.
Well, that's why, so if you know where you are on the circuit, like, or if you can give me, you don't have to tell me where you live, but just put a general cloud around where you are, then I can look at the wind data. It nearest, because Edison has wind net towers all over the place, and I can pull the data up and prove that they should have cut the power because it was only 28 miles an hour or something. They're not supposed to cut the power until it's over 55 miles an hour.
There was nowhere near, and then
This is why it's really, they're up to their old tricks, you know, and.
they sent me a survey.
Yeah, I never said it.
I filled it out, and I told them, I said, you know,
How much should PSPS in that?
yeah. I said, what are you guys doing? We're just one job.
So if you could
I want to
email the town council with when you power.
maybe it's a little hard to hear, but, you know, Edison is constantly turning off my electricity.
Really?
I'm on oxygen, I can die, and they signed me a contract to give me a charging system, would keep me online no matter what they did, and then they never followed through with it.
So they did divide it?
No, I mean, I had a generator so big I can't fit, and I'm handicapped and 80 years old, and they think I'm a young man that can pick this machine up, take it outside when I need electricity. And it just doesn't work for me, and that go to places attitude.
Is it possible for you
Been
to?
going on for like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, is it possible for you, do you have internet access or what? Do you have access?
No, I'm not computer literate.
Okay, so how do we,
Yeah.
this should be part of our comments.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make that happen. Well, do you have anybody that on the
I
computer?
have a neighbor that helps me, but he's got a family he's got to take care of too. So it's kind of hard for him to get involved with things.
Well,
But
Pam,
it's ridiculous. You go there, you fill out the doctor, fill out the paperwork, and then they treat you like you're just a piece of dirt.
Pam, can you work with him to
Yeah,
get together?
Contact with you, Minnie.
Let me tell you exactly what I need. I need a name, what the agreement has been, what Edison said they would do, and what they actually did. 'Cause this is very.
Situation is, Kaiser killed my wife because the doctor didn't do it. The job properly. So I'm all alone now.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
You're fine.
I just have a neighbor because he helps me, a little charity, you know what I mean? And you can only ask for so much for free, but I'm not computer literate and I don't read. Because my parents were lousy guns. So I ran away from home and joined the Navy, and that wasn't any better. But anyway, so when you come home, you build your home, you have your electricity, and then Edison comes along and says, hey, what is your electricity for the new houses going up the hill? And they did that with water, too, you know, and they just act like, some people who've been here for 40 years don't count.
Hey, I'll get your phone number before.
Pardon?
I'll get your phone number.
Okay, I'll give
If
you
it helps too, I know this man pretty good,
Okay,
and if you get any information, I can help you with it also.
okay. Okay, Ron.
We got to work for the hospital once in a while.
Okay,
Yeah, run
Thank
the
you.
city.
You never know, 911, he called me.
okay, got it.
Run the group guy.
All right.
You know, Edison, why are they allowing them to build the new houses up on the side of the hill when they're going to mess with electricity?
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And then I hear that they want to build all the houses out behind the school on that big flat there, and then use Benson and Cedro as their in and out exit. And they speed up down, I think, doing 50 and 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they're gonna kill somebody's kid eventually.
I know, I wasn't aware of that, we haven't seen anything that,
We haven't heard anything yet.
so doesn't mean it's happening. Means it is happening, since we haven't.
Any other community comments for anything? All right. We'll move on through, announcements, correspondence.
Okay, I didn't get too much time today. Do together announcements, but I do have a couple. First of all, I want to make sure everybody's aware about the project that's going on the 14 freeway starting is really small map. But they're widening basically the 14 freeway, both the northbound and southbound lanes.
That's a battery system?
No, this is modifications of the 14 freeway.
Oh.
The northbound lanes and the southbound lanes. It's going to have most of the work done, of course, it's Acton, and you can see the entire community of Acton is going to have
That's a good
work rebuilt on both the north and the south bound lanes. There's what's frustrating when we actually made this request, which of course we did, we pointed out that they scheduled 3 scoping meetings. One of them was in Santa Clarita last week, another one was in Lancaster last week, and the third one is Palmdale tomorrow. And I emailed them, because I was frankly frustrated that the project isn't even happening anywhere in Lancaster or Palmdale. It's only happening in Acton and Santa Clarita a little bit on Wilson. So they've scheduled their scoping meetings in communities that aren't even affected by it. They completely left us out and didn't give us a scoping meeting at all. And we're more affected than any other community because it's the entire length of both the north and southbound lanes are affected by this. So we are the ones who are going to have all the traffic going through our community to avoid the places where the construction is being done. As you have driven up the Antelope Valley during commuter hours with the 14th freeway closed, the 10th west is, and east are just jammed, 0 highways jammed. That's going to stolen down and stuff. But anyway, the scoping meetings for this, it's an important step of the environmental review process. And so they're soliciting comments from affected communities, so it's important if you're able to go to the meeting, because anyone will go to make comments on it. So it's it's tomorrow from 6 to 8 at the Palmdale Oasis Park Recreation Center on 3850 East Avenue, West Palmdale. I've never been there, so I don't know anything about it, but if you're able to go, it's at 3850 East Avenue West. It sounds like a campground. The Palmdale Oasis Park Recreation, I don't know what that means, on Avenue S.
That's probably the park by the freeway sitting down low.
I really don't know, it could be. I don't know. So at any rate, so please go if you're able to, because, and we need to comment on what arrangements they're going to make to protect the community from the congestion that's going to happen in our town. Also, another second announcement is that the town council was able to provide some substantial comments on the draft cannabis ordinance that is being prepared by DCB. In particular, you pointed out the ordinance does not comply with the county general plan, which does not provide buffers between residential areas and industrial cannabis businesses. Hopefully, these comments will make a difference. Anyway, that's all. There were more announcements. I just took time to put together. Sure.
And the bad part about what you're talking about, that work, everybody jumps on the freeway, uses the side roads and all the residential areas. And they just whip back through the freeway,
Is this Carrie?
I'm Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Sorry. You're late.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so we can open up public comment, if you guys have something.
Do you want to make a public comment about?
Very secret.
We'll speak together. So on October 15th, Mr. Mayor here and your team, we are the Christmas and Halloween house, and we put it on for the community. We love to see the little kids' faces that come in there, their little eyes light up. But he came and he said we needed to email him right away for some issues. So we sent him an email asking him what was up, and I was able to talk to him on the phone. He stated that we are not allowed to charge people to come into our yard, and we are not allowed to ask for donations. And I said, are we not allowed to do those things, or are you just suggesting that? And he said, no, we are. We don't think it's right that you charge for donations. Anything you want to add? Yeah, oh, he did say he was going to send us something in the mail warning us that we couldn't do that. And he also asked a lot of details about the walkthrough and if it was something that went through the house or if it was something that was just on the property. And it's just something on the property. We just do it for fun, and he liked it, but the community likes it too. And so
He basically, it sounded like he said that we got friends and family come through, and that was it.
So you guys have a lot of family.
we have a lot of friends there.
And, you know, then he saw it posted on some other homeless people posted on Facebook, and he said that we have to remove it immediately, can't be posted anywhere, can't be on the social media, can't be this, and he was really kind of a jerk. He talked to Jerry. I say how this, and probably wouldn't have went well.
Did he say one?
Did he cite any code provisions?
No.
Okay. Did you ask him?
I sent him the email.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any code violations in there.
No, did you ask him what section of the code am I violating?
Yeah, violating.
I asked him, you know, why, and he said the neighbor was complaining, so. A neighbor, I don't know, we can't speculate which neighbor, but he just said a neighbor was complaining. He said that he drove by one day and he saw all the decorations and that he wanted to take pictures for his own family to show them. He was really excited about it. And then it so happened that that neighbor called in the next day and now he came back for that, you know, on a separate notice.
He left a card on the gate, this year, our yard's enclosed, so people can't just come in. And, but he was asking me all kinds of questions on the phone, like, we're gonna restore everything, it's what it's in business. And then we found out what's going on with other people in town with this guy. And, I'll never let go of my property. Remember, it's business, we're not breaking the law, we're not hurting nobody. And, you know,
Did he suggest that he was going to be sending using?
It was a letter, we put it in the mail, we never received that. Our mail also got stolen, so I don't know if but our mail got stolen about 2 weeks before this, I think. So I don't know if he just is thinking I do nothing, but we're not.
Well, it might be, I don't know, I have to look at code, it might be, charging people might be turning your home into a commercial business, and then that would be a home-based business, and you need a permit. I don't need donations all the time, I don't think there's anything you can.
Deputy Martinez in his hand. Deputy Martinez?
Yeah, so basically, I know that this is how we treat them. It's basically an unpermitted event because, like, you're kind of charging, but you get around it because we have to do the same thing at our stuff at the station. It's a suggested donation. Like, you don't, like, because if you're saying, hey, it's a donation of $5 to come in or whatever, like a set amount, that's when it becomes kind of like the iffiness of it. This guy could just be, it sounds like he's a neighbor, wasn't like county zoning went out there or anything like that, right? So he's just probably frustrated with you guys or something, or just wants to be in your business. But the way we get around it is it's a suggested donation, not a mandatory, and if someone doesn't want to pay, they can just come in kind of thing and enjoy it. But because we do, when we are citing parties, we do kind of differentiate from them when they charge like an entry fee. Zoning does take that into account and then does whatever citation for that. So that's probably what.
Yeah, so if they say they just don't think it's right, you accept donations, then that's true for us. We're not supposed to, well, it's absurd, right? So don't.
Well, it needs to be a rule, it can't be what they think.
Yeah, I don't care.
He mentioned to Carrie that we can't charge, and he can't say nowhere that we're charging. And he told Carrie on the first phone call that maybe you could accept donations. In the next phone call, he said, my son's my supervisor, and cannot take any monetary compensation from anybody. Donations, pay, but nothing.
But if you're treating them each other, taco card.
Exactly.
So just sell tacos in the front.
Yeah.
It's just for everybody's.
Yeah,
I always brought my cat.
All right, so we're ready to run. We're gonna move up
Yeah,
our committee report on status, how we're gonna do this, because it's the agenda. So,
Yeah, so, Ron, we promised last time we'd talk about your project tonight on the meeting. I forwarded to everybody late this afternoon on the town council copies of the notices of violation that you received, and I looked at them quickly, noticed a couple of things I just wanted to point out. So you have, cites 2 pieces of property that are zoned RA, or residential agriculture,
Correct.
and then another property that's zoned rural commercial. So right off the bat, what was startling to me on all, you got 3 different letters then, of NOV letters.
Correct.
The first line item in each letter cited you for violations of the Act of CSD, specifically CO2.030, .040, .050, and .060. Except 030 is just the CSD map.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we violated that. 040 is just the provision that talks about the CSD. 050 is just about application and review procedures. Well, we haven't violated that. And 060 is just, so right off the bat, the provisions that are alleged to have been violated of the Act of CSD don't even make sense. Now, some of the other things, I didn't have as much time as I would like to have. The other things where they talk about things like storage of a commercial trailer and unpermitted storage, I just, for my own opinion, we are fighting about 140 acres worth of unpermitted and illegally maintained outdoor storage facilities, industrially zoned property, which complies with code. And we've been fighting that in our community now for 10 or 12 years. So I don't know, I'd have to look more at the situation with the trailer and the unpermitted storage, because we have to be very careful. We can't tell the county, it's okay for this property to have it, but all these other properties you can't. But I understand you've also removed a lot of those things, so that's not even a problem. But they've actually cited you for having things like a bobcat and a trailer.
yeah, that's great.
I have a tractor. I'm not a tractor. I'm a tractor. They should have this sort of equipment. And when you have a bobcat, or you need a trailer, you can move it around, right? So, and I thought we had this results ago with Oscar Gomez. I mean, we had it out with him. And I said, look, we have to maintain our own roads here. When he said things, he sent an email saying you can't have this. The only people who's allowed to people cement mixer on their property are people who have commercially zoned properties where they can rent it out. I'm like, I want a cement mixer. What are you talking about? I can't own, So I thought he had backed off on that stuff. So I was really troubled by this, because I don't care if you're on ag zone property and you're an RA, and I have, my problem is I have had a chance to look at the RA, A1 and A2, but I don't know RA that well. But I think we need to bring this up with, we need to get stuff squared away. I mean, regional planning knows so we need scrapers, we need bulldozers, we need trailers to carry these things.
And nobody's cleaning them. Like, I don't, there's an expectation of being out here. It's like those items. It's not.
Right. And I'm not sure that even, he's got commercially zoned property, so I thought contractors' storage yards are allowed on commercially zoned property. I need to look at it more closely. The problem is, you maybe just haven't done a site plan for it, so it hasn't been set up for that. Anyway, so go ahead, that's.
And that's why we're grant. Like a son. But
What's your name?
for 18 years or so, maybe more, I've had my semi truck that I don't own it anymore.
Yeah.
All parked on the property. I've had my backhoe, so that I use around to do things like the park, whatever, I'm very like, I'm on standby, okay? And I've got my overseas neighbors, what they have, what you're upset about those. And, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, not quite sure, but I've had them there for years. And now, we're taking, Brad and I are feeling that, go ahead, Brad.
So they look at it as like retail.
RCU now.
So when you're under the C3 guidelines, you can't have equipment, you can't have contractors, whatever, trailer, that, they want strictly retail, period.
Well, I'm confused, because, I'm sorry, Country Club Feed has trailers.
But they're under, they have one property.
Really don't.
No.
They're rural commercial. In fact, we had zone change, we went around and around on this, because they wanted to store all their vehicles in the.
That was defeated 10 years ago. They got 80 from the equipment run.
You know, they might get around it because they're selling feed to the public.
So it's
They're
rural
getting
commercial.
sales tax revenue, you gotta think about, all they care about is sales tax revenue, they wanna see the money. If you have a C3 property, you're receiving sales tax. If you're running any store, you're gonna be charging sales tax. So as far as the county is concerned, I believe, they wanna see sales tax revenue on a C3 property.
Well, that would be as illegal as what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Because they can't, it doesn't matter, but it's important to understand that the property is no longer C3, it's something called RCU, there's no more C3 in Allen.
Well,
And
part of it is C3.
No,
it's
CRU, they changed it from C3, and they changed my RA property
It's the same thing.
to RA1. I used to be R3, apartment building. It's condominiums, my property, and they changed it.
They did that way, they do.
And so they changed that, so what I would really like to do is, and it's unfortunate, just the application to change the property into M1 zoning is $24,000 just for the application. That's not even included, but what I wanna do is, and we got this guy, DT and all that stuff, that, you know, out of this, but, I think that the only way that I could really keep my place the way that it was, which is fine, I mean, it looks great, I don't wanna really change landscape and all, but anybody, but I can't own this property and not have anything on it. I've got my backhoe parked in the street, this is ridiculous. I've got my boat somewhere else. I mean, and my doctor here, this is RV, is parked on my property, on the sea property, and I'm rode up with that. But this guy saved my life, and I'm gonna let him, let's park in there, you keep it there, I don't want it done. And if I have to charge him, I can charge him $1. Okay? But if I can,
So
it's gonna cost $24,000 just to put the application in. If everybody's gonna say, no, M1, but if we're up against this, I just wanna make the place the way that it was. If you see, I evacuated everything off of there pretty much.
Yeah.
They were complaining about asphalt, whatever, yeah, I got used a lot. And the problem, this guy just came by, because I don't own a Bobcat. The county owned the Bobcat. So when these guys were redoing our streets out here, I allowed them to park
So that they got a safe place, I have cameras, I got lights, and it's close to my house, that if I hear some noise, I'm out there. I'm out there with something in my hand too.
So, I mean, you let all the county people park all their equipment while they were doing Crown Valley Road.
Yeah.
And
This underpaid, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, it's
but I don't know if that, it's
so
my back,
frustrated.
my whatever I have or whatever. It's clear to anybody. But-
You had very little on the commercial property, and everything was lined up, it was a construction yard like we don't see. I mean,
So he's
very good
going to. Yeah, that's asking, did do this plan, zone change, would you guys be behind him?
I would not. We have 140 acres of industrial zone property, and every acre is on the estimate, because none of it complies with codes and ordinance. It's all, looks like we have freaking outhouses right next to the school. It's just horrible.
and why should Ron have to spend a permit to see if they even would approve it? And you know and I know that's just beginning of the fees.
Well, the problem also is the general plan, aviary plan, and county general plan both say that zone change is discouraged
Yes.
unless the change brings an essential benefit to the community. So even, no matter what we say, and I'm just being honest with you, because I've spent 15 years of my life. In fact, I spent several hours a day fighting another industrial zone property and a bunch of all the illegal billboards on all those properties. So I spent way too much time trying to bring the existing industrial facilities into compliance. To ever want to support and more property becoming industrial zone, it'll just become more of a headache. Not that you would ever do that, but you're not going to own it in 15 or 20 years. And it's right, all of those industrial zone properties right next to you, they look like crap.
And these are next to Campus Street,
And that looks like, and we're fighting that too. It's like,
you can't do.
yeah.
And there's 150 uses that he could do on his zoning right now.
That's what I was
But
just.
he doesn't want to start a business, he's not
I'm not.
interested in starting
I mean,
it.
I grew up by Church. But we don't need a nursery. We're not a nursery.
Not only that, some of this property isn't.
Right.
So you can't build a building. I mean, you can't build something. But remember, it wasn't that long ago, when this investment company went into escrow with me. Oh, okay, all right. You're gonna do something, all right. Bottom line, was good. And next thing you know, we're gonna build a dollar.
All what you have, whatever it is you need to fit into the category.
It fit in, what he had on the property, what I saw
It's fine.
originally was fine on this. That's why
What about storage containers, that's another one.
Okay, so here's the thing, with storage containers, all right? So,
This is what,
we had somebody come to our meeting about 8, 9 years, a little bit before COVID, just raging angry at the Acton Town Council because they were told by Dan that the Acton Town Council does not allow any containers on anybody's property. And so she just gave it to us both barrels, and we're like, we don't know what you're talking about. And she actually gave us the copy of the email from Dan saying, it's the Acton Town Council, not me, who says you can't. Well, the fact is, we have never said, we're fighting with, we still are fighting with county to be able to have more than one container on the property. As long as they're, they're not ugly or, graffiti, they're,
An eyesore.
Yeah, exactly.
And so been there for 8 years.
Don't get it. Why do they have the right to change it? He's pre-existing. I'm 40 years pre-existing, and they changed my zoning too. Who gives them the right to change your zoning when you buy your property? That's fraud. That's outright fraud.
So is there a list, Jackie, that?
Yeah, I gave it to Pam, did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a list already.
No, a list that is allowed in.
Yes.
You
Okay, so I only printed out the rural commercial, so the part that's RCU.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, give Pam.
There's 150, and I gave that to Ron.
Yeah.
So,
And it's,
I
sales, rentals,
So what
or
over business?
You gave it to JT or Larry, and said, "Those are
I brought them a check for $1,000 and said, let's get started.
Yeah,
So, but if we have
I
to go
suggest maybe you
we
can-
have to go to everyone. Go get my little,
that's just my, everybody else
they're
gets
saying,
bored
what
and
the Grammy
and
do?
I,
What are they saying? I'm not.
Oh, I was saying that your guys' well,
Right.
Jackie's opinion.
they changed mine from 83.
I agree, I mean, I get it. Totally understand.
Right, because
Not everybody's gonna maintain their income like I try to.
And we have, there's other stuff in effect that address it, which is like,
Yeah.
those all have potential for uses that I think.
They look like.
No, like a bunch of cannabis stuff.
Oh,
Or things like that. So, like, you guys may not, but again, 15, 20 years from now, I mean,
Somebody-
all of us are not gonna be here, but
Yeah.
kids and whatever.
Yes, in fact, that's a good point, because it turns out there's more property, because we have so much M1 here, there's so much M1 land can be used for cannabis businesses. There's more M1 land in our little town that can be used for pot businesses than all of Supervisor District 3.
Wow.
So we're
But even aside from that, I think what we're hoping is, let's look at the list, you know, just somebody finding it and have an easier path to.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
We need to
Well,
and help them out and get it so that they can't mess with it.
But it might require a site plan. But I also want to say this, I think we need to step in, and somebody else is going to have to do this, because I am already saturated. We're going to step into the county to finally nail down that RA zone property or A zone property are allowed to have bulldozers and cement mixers and that's what some used to call them diggers, but were they back excavates and stuff, excavated, because we have to maintain our own rules, our own roads. So I think that will go a long way also to addressing, and we also have to have trailers to hold them, carry them, so.
Well, we need the current container to be stuff in there goes along with it, you
Well,
know?
now, cargo container, you're allowed to put, as, I think we said, did we say 2? I don't know.
We said two, but
We said two,
I
yeah.
don't know that there's anything, I thought we were going back for 5 years because this came up with the fee for it, they're making up all sorts of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any limit at this point.
I
don't think there's any limit. Like, I think we were saying two seemed reasonable for, we were talking about per acreage, like, on a 5 acre parcel, you could have, I think, probably, so we talked to that, I don't remember when the CSD was still.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I think this is something we should just agendize to actually flesh out, so I'm gonna solve it tonight. But I think you guys we can start looking on that side, on, you know, the whole thing's will agendize it, just, it's also got shades of even their stuff in it, which is like, we need some clarity on our things.
Yeah. So Jack, do you think a site plan? I agree, I felt like.
I felt, if you have anything on your, if you put a fence in the property, you need.
Yeah, you need it.
So anything on your property at this point that doesn't have a site plan is considered it. And it'll give you an use on property.
Yeah.
So, that, for all I
I
know.
just wanna use that, and all my pets, I got work for, I can plan it over anymore.
Right. So everything, why did you do that?
Everything he had on the property was according to how I read.
Okay, then.
But that was just let me hear you, and he's gonna do
Well, I
that.
just saw the water says he's.
I know, I saw like it was, but I'm. You know, I'm Jack. No, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't wanna say that I know, because.
Well, if you have something on your property, if you don't have a site plan for it, then they will. They'll tag you for it, even if it's illegal use, because you haven't made it legal because you're on site.
But what if it's rolling stock, I ain't gonna put it on a piece of paper.
Doesn't matter, it's put in the site.
Well, that's why we also need to get the county to understand that residential aid properties here need to have, we'll be able to have bulldozers and scrapers and stuff.
When you buy your property up here, and you buy it on the pre-existing, you have the right to come along and change the zoning and change everything you were gonna do with your life.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I bought my property so I could give my kids easy places to build their own home to live. It took it away by changing my zoning. The county is as crooked as can be. They get paid off by Gifford, and I can start naming people that get paid. What about all that cheap commercial land they got for almost free alongside the Sierra Highway and the freeway? That was all residential, but then they did commercial. And then they sold a field.
We gotta move on, but I wanna make sure that you.
Yeah, I mean, at least right now, we all know.
Yeah.
And then,
I think
if I work in, let's suppose, there's no way, I need to be able to use the property for something, that's ridiculous. And if I do need to lean towards M1, I don't know how much objection that there would be, but let me just find out.
Well, who knows? So the county could say, yeah, we don't know. So you put all your money up front and then they decide.
I know
we've
that.
got enough.
I know that last but not least, that part of our side is that, yeah, when you do have that M1 and you get permission to use it, you have to write down what it needs to be used for. That's right.
It's just the same as what Jackie said.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So if you can do it without doing a zone change, I totally recommend doing that. Just do a site plan, be done with it.
Yeah, let's-
But you start looking at maybe.
What else are you
People over hills.
What you said.
Is anything on the agenda for tomorrow?
There's no.
Oh, that's why we didn't get a.
Yeah, there's no board meeting, I can't remember why. I think there's a lot of stuff that's coming up a week from now, but that's,
You're saying you want to flip that around and get it out of the way.
I can't remember what it is, it's probably, like I said, we're supposed to certify the election results on December 3rd, that's the state date for,
They're still counting on it, don't understand how. That's what we do.
Because if the thing's postmarked on election day and arrives 5 days later, it's going to be counted. Well, except a whole bunch of people thought that your vote was like your taxes. As long as you had it postmarked by the due date, it turns counted, and until a few years ago, it wasn't something. Now everything comes in, it's postmarked by the dates. And they have to verify every signatures and things like that.
So do we know Mike Garcia?
I don't know. He's going to see, so Suzette Valadares is far ahead for state senate. Tom Lackey certainly is far ahead
Yeah.
for that assembly. Carrillo for the east side AD assembly. Measure G to create 9 seats. County report says.
There you go.
So the measure G that would expand the board to 9 and create an elected county mayor, kind of like a county governor. That's a hill and stay ahead as the last.
And I think I saw that Barger was against that.
Yeah, because as I tell, and I can talk about now, as I tell everybody, 9 seats is not enough to get the Antelope Valley its own seat. It's, the Antelope Valley is still less than half of what it is. So instead of one supervisor out of 5 knowing where the Antelope Valley is, it'll be one supervisor out of 9 that knows where the Antelope Valley is. And in addition, the department answers to the chief executive. So like right now, I could, somebody calls and says, there's a pothole at 90th East and out West. I can email the road department and say, hey, can you guys fix this? And they'll yeah. Well, I don't know, my counterpart in the future, talk to the CEO, he's the guy in charge.
Yeah, that sounds like it's showing. Oh, yeah, that's great.
But anyway, so that's what, the quarter cent hike in the homeless measure A, that's going to be passing, so that'll go from a quarter cent to a half cent. What else is?
Because the quarter cents works so well.
Yeah.
Let's do it one.
Yes.
So, and I don't.
Prop 36 and.
Well, because he lost how much?
Well, the statewide, Prop 36.
Prop 36, I think is certainly passed, certainly, Gascon was certainly diselected, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully, I guess we'll see, hopefully fruits from that.
Yeah.
I can tell you, because I never say this, my boss knows, Hoffman, and says that he thinks there's gonna be big improvement in terms of prosecuting.
Couldn't get any worse.
It always could.
I don't see that. One of the ways we should know better than say that.
Yeah.
It could get worse. Okay, well, thank you. And I don't think. Folks, so we'll need to reach out and see if we get some of the newly elected folks to drop by and speak up. All right, Deputy Martinez.
Hey guys. So for the month of October, we had 4 Part 1 crimes and 2 property crimes, which is an 8.99 reduction year over year. And that's pretty much about all I have.
All right.
You guys have anything for me?
Yeah, I'd like to know why we wasted our time coming down here, working with you people like we did, and then some of those times we're still on. I feel sorry for you, but you got stuck with a bunch of baloney. But all the crooked crap that's going on, and nobody wants to reveal it, and so then we have to suffer for it, and it's getting a little ridiculous. And the government part illegal Indian. You know, this is a bunch of baloney. You've negotiated this stuff 40 years ago. It's like floodplain management. Then they want $18 million. Floodplains.
So we're talking to Deputy Martinez right now about, we're talking to the sheriff about stuff right now. Did you have a question for the sheriff?
He's the sheriff?
Yeah. Deputy Martinez is.
Yeah, I'd like to know why they didn't do their job. No, my wife was shot by 2 dogs. They were caught.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you give me an answer to that?
I don't think you will do that, so.
I don't think so many.
Yeah, nobody wants to.
So, all right. We're gonna move on.
Time coming down here, and people don't want.
All right.
This is no longer a public forum.
Okay,
Was that your ride? Vinny, is that your ride?
I'm a veteran for the people.
all right. Gentlemen, we're starting.
No, it's hard.
I think or you were here for, anyways, I'm second generation miner. We run the active clay quarries with Star Minerals up in the active forest here. My dad started about 30 years ago. I've been with him for 15 years. My dad passed a couple years ago. But my brother and I are running it through management. Our big thing was, I emailed you guys, but basically we have a plan amendment that happened 10 years ago with the Forest Service that went through. They signed it. It took about 2 years. It took 2 years, or like about 2 years for them to approve of an acreage law. And since then, it's been like 10 years trying to get the county to do the same handshake that, okay, this is good. It's already been approved. So we're actually getting a hearing date posted in January for it, so we're gonna go down to that. But the county requested an updated letter of support from the town council. We have a fax letter from Dick Morse from 2002. So we're just requesting that if we could, we could get an updated letter that says that Acton has no real, issues or problems.
Yeah, okay, Jackie, so for your, what did you guys talk anything about?
No, we didn't, it wasn't on the agenda, so it's why we put it on the agenda,
So I guess we can open up for discussion for it.
Yeah.
Is there, what were your thoughts, what are you guys thinking, any concerns, anything?
Well, their letter of recommendation, their ultimate was written by, that was Dick Morris, right? This is not.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty.
So I think that they're,
No harm.
I think they're probably, right.
The community's okay.
How long is this How long was this one before?
I mean, they're only asking us because they looked at it and said, oh, this is really.
No. How long, when you guys renew everything now, how long will that, is it 10 years, 15 years?
I mean, our plan is for 2012, and then within that same paperwork, the amended change is 2029.
Okay, so. Okay.
So,
It's a CUP, right? Right, not a service plan. What exactly? I've got too many, I'm too working on too many of these, so I didn't get a chance to look at it. So is it a CUP or is it a,
The actual line.
the permit that you're getting? What is it?
The permit is amended to our existing.
But the Forest Service?
It's already been approved by the Forest Service, and now it's just trying to get the LA County to handshake it, because we have permits through the Forest Service, the BLM, the county, and then the state. And they all have to have, everything looks good, so
So it's a special use permit with the Forest Service, right?
that part, the Forest Service part's been all.
that's done.
So what's it called that the county's issue? It's not a conditional use permit, what is it called?
In the email.
It's SMP 0021.
So it is a service plan.
That's our existing.
That's what I was trying to understand exactly what the permit was. So it's a SN,
Yeah.
all right, so the SNP will be,
To 2029, 12/31, 2029. And the footprint's not changing.
no, that's fine, that's fine.
I'm just asking.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's what I was asking.
essentially, it's renewing exactly what you guys are currently doing.
It looks like, like I said, it's just amending, it's them answering that the group is okay with the county, and it's taken us 10 years for them to finally say, hey, yeah.
You guys are kind of scheduled.
Yeah.
they're gonna get it done before it expires.
Yeah, I see that. They actually emailed us saying that, saying, oh, we've lagged so bad on this that we actually shouldn't do this much because it's taken us 10 years to even look at this. Because I'm sure you guys deal with the county, and they go through changing of the guard all the time, so someone will grab it and work on it, and then they'll get hired, or they'll go up or go down or leave, and then they get something on this time.
So, well, she said, the only thing I know, I'll just go this in, and check it again, other folks might have other things, was, I don't, we've had, got some of the past complaint about the traffic, but I think that was largely resolved, you guys did a really good job of.
I thought we did,
Yeah.
we haven't,
I will say, I will base it on this, no one needs to come here street. Yeah, it's,
the only person,
No,
Tom emailed me and then I'll turn
Well, Tom is no longer.
He's moved, yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, if you haven't heard from Tom, that's why, not because it's been great.
this is crazy.
What's your, Ray used to be pretty upset with Jake Wright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my point just being is that because people felt very comfortable, complaining, I would have anticipated if it wasn't resolved, we would have heard about it. So, and I mean, I just personally just appreciate you guys came, addressed it, heard, and then it seemed like you dealt with it. So like, I appreciate that. So that, I think it was a long way in helping consider this and positive thing, but if you have.
No, I don't either. And you're gonna be back within a few years because you're gonna have to renew it again. Right?
So we're ready to start after this January. Here goes to, we're gonna take 5 to 10 years to get the next plan. And it took my dad like 5 to 10 years to get his plan going, and it's taking us 10 to finish it, and then it's gonna be done soon, so then we get to take the burden of getting it ready for the next.
And I don't remember all the details, but like, so what exactly you guys mine what? It's some kind of.
So like most interns we mine a high alumina clay, we out in Bigger Blair area. Those are our local customers. So when we ship from where you're at, it's about 1.5 hours one way there to 1.5 back. So we'll ship you usually 2 loads, but they use the clay in their cement mix to make Portland cement mix. And each cement plant will vary in their mine zone. Their mines all depend on limestone. So wherever their mines is, they'll have different types of limestone. So we offer like 3 types of clay, one that has like a higher iron, one that has a lower iron, and depending on their limestone mix, they'll request that type of clay. And then we did a tour in 2017, I think, where I was talking about.
I love that.
We can schedule another one maybe next year, but we can go over the whole line.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
maybe one, it's kind of an interesting,
Yeah.
unique thing. I mean, it's not like, you know, I think people think mining, they don't think of.
Well, I mean, if so it's huge, most things is my dirt.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very specific mineral. Yeah, it's a very specific mineral like rock to act in specific ways.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's always interesting, just because it's like neat to get done. There's something unique.
Yeah, it's like within, you know, the mine used to be in the national forest, and then I don't know, it turned into a monument during Obama's thing because he was doing a big push. But then when they did that, it got rid of any mines that were not permitted. And we're one of the few, probably the last mine in the monument that's fully permitted. So like when they're doing their scoping meetings, like there was a big star where our mine was, these guys are there and they're permitted, you know. So,
That's good.
Yeah.
So in January is your hearing?
Yeah, January.
So, I mean, anybody else have any questions, concerns?
No, I have just a quick question. What the letter said before was the active town council has reviewed the renewal on the application for North Star Minerals. We have no opposition to the project is presented on this date. We request to be added to the findings list. You know, typically we have 3 choices: oppose, don't oppose, or support. So if anyone's going to make a motion on this, I suggest that they pick one of those, which they did on this one. We just want to reiterate this. I haven't done enough to know how. I don't know if I can like support it because I don't know anything about it. I probably would support it if I had time to look at it, but I certainly have no reason to oppose it. So I don't know how you guys think either.
I can take the middle ground. You know, like you don't have to say.
Yeah, well, I think that's what she says, we don't oppose it, which would be like the.
Reiterating opposite.
I would love to support it, but I understand the preservation people. You know, just because, like, again, this is just completely based on how you've interacted with that.
Very good.
That's, like, I wish everybody would take that same seriousness to, like, English and kind of like, oh, we want to be a good neighbor, like, you know, we want to, so, I really appreciate it.
I would too.
Yeah.
You know, we were in the truck in, probably, when it was, they were coming too early in the morning and
Yeah.
it was.
Well, I think Candy maybe might be doing, like, trash and peeing monsters. And there's also,
Permanently fixed.
yes, no, I mean, this is all,
It was awesome.
so,
I guess I'll move that we reiterate our prior position in 2002 and not was left to that effect.
Okay.
you have a second?
I'll second
All
that.
right, you got a second?
Second.
Second. Oh, he said, all right, we got his first second. All right, any other discussion?
No,
Sorry.
no.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wow. Sounds so good up here.
Yeah.
Not so hollow anymore. I love it.
Yeah, really.
Thank you. So this is obviously probably the sooner the better to get you
The
guys.
sooner the better, we can bring this in January.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I need some information. I need to know the case number. Is it still the same case number?
It's an
SN00-1.
Yeah, the second email that you have are,
Okay.
the form that we give this issue.
Okay, so is it still called SN00-6? And who's your planner? Who's planner?
For our permitting, John Newton, that was about.
At regional planning?
Oh, no. That changed.
Because we would normally.
If you find,
Actually, you know, yeah, I'll, you know.
yeah,
you-
you email the town council, or you,
Yeah.
maybe might just ATC, because then she'll, we all get that.
We only write the letter to.
Sure.
And yeah, we want to make sure they get a shot.
Because it comes with our notes.
I think it's the records of planning, it should tell. It might be the hearing officer, I'll double check on it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you.
And then I'll even know regarding a tour.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Cool. Next up, RPC appeal.
Yeah, so that hearing is on Wednesday, and
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Submitted a comment letter today on it.
RPC, what's it,
So you want to know what the RPC stands for?
Regional Planning Commission.
oh, okay.
I'm hoping that somebody besides me can go to this hearing. It's in LA. It's at 9, it's a planning commission.
Okay, so we leave here early.
We'd have to leave here by 6:30. I mean, if the carpool bar, maybe be like for 7, but I'm sure hoping that.
This is one street, you said, yes?
Okay, so if you guys recall, what it is the hearing officer. First of all, we never received notice yet on this at all. In fact, explicitly in May, if the hearing was scheduled, he said no. Well, it was scheduled in July. They advertised it because I read the Act on Wheels News every week to see what hearings are coming. They advertised it, Santa Cruz Valley Signal. Advertised it in the local paper area. And it wasn't just us that didn't get a notice. At the hearing, a next door neighbor didn't get a notice. So, one notice not delivered is a mistake. 2 is a matter.
Yeah.
And so, and so we had a lot of problems with this. We couldn't participate in the hearing. I learned about it about half an hour after it's finished. So I tried to log in. We had submitted extensive comments on concerns regarding the fact that the county zoning code says that regional planning cannot approve any permits where the land is maintaining the uses that are in violation of Title 22. So it's straight up. So, we said, why are we don't oppose the cell tower because it's community sweeping, except for you should not even convene a hearing until you've gotten this, till you've gotten the existing violations under control. Because it's the only leverage that our community has to bring these facilities into compliance is when the property owner who's making money off of all these illegal uses turns around and wants another use that they make more money off of, like the cell tower. And so, no, you don't get that. Right. It's the only provision in the code that, and I'm sorry, I'm not saying this very articulately, I'm kind of tired, but, so it's the only leverage we have to bring these horrible, every one of these to compliance. We got the exact same problem of the Vincent area where there's another cell phone tower where they want to, and the county keeps rubber stamping the changes to Exhibit A. They shouldn't be doing anything like that because there's so many violations on the property, it's not funny. So the county's completely blowing through it, ignoring it. And so we said, we appealed the approval, not because we imposed the tower, we took no position on it, because they shouldn't have even convened a hearing. They certainly should have approved the CUP until, under the code, approving it was a violation of the code because there were existing violations on the property. And so regional planning posted about 10 days ago their response, and it was just a lot of nonsense. They said, well, because the NOV wasn't put on the property until after the application was submitted, we had to go ahead and process it. But that you want to accept an application and you want to approve anything. So they're just lying. And at some point, if the code doesn't mean anything, and just tell us, I will stop. I will just, for the rest of my life, walk away from this. Because, we're here because the code is supposed to mean something, right? Right. So, anyway, so we filed this appeal. Regional planning prepared their analysis, and it's basically nonsense. They ignored the violations that we talked about. One good thing, which they don't talk about anymore in the report, but it appears that they've done it. If you remember, I kept saying that the use on that property was not outdoor storage, it was not subject to the outdoor storage, blah, 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 because it's a sales,
Yeah.
right? Sales and rental, and I said, well, that's fine. According to code, all sales and rental has to be indoors.
Yes.
So you can tell the guy to put in about 60,000 square feet of buildings and put all of his stuff in there. Or why don't you just make it outdoor storage, but make it attractive? And we want fall, we want, pepper tree, the whole, all of it, right? So I think they're finally making them comply with that section. That's what it appears to be what's happening right now. But it's the other violation is this billboard. And I, not on behalf of the town council, but on my own behalf, and another organization that I work with, has done a lot of research on this billboard. And I've done some digging deep into statement of proceedings by the Board of Supervisors from 1962 to 1979. Looked at every single one of them. And I found that in 1967, the Board of Supervisors adopted a resolution that required any new billboard to have a zoning certification authorized to be filed with Caltrans before they get a Caltrans permit. That was adopted in 1967, December, okay? Then in May of 1972, the County Board of Supervisors issued an emergency. So putting those regulations aside, there's aerial imagery I have from 1968 on this particular billboard that shows it there, right? There was a billboard issued in 1968. The problem is, it's a very clear picture. The billboard that was there in 1968 is not the same thing. It's not the same as the billboard that's there now. The billboard that's there now is basically almost 90 degrees to zero height. The billboard in 1968 was at a really sharp angle, like almost an acute angle, looking directly right at the 14 freeway. So, and that was in 1968, which means that billboard was, and we've received emails, the town council received emails from Oscar saying that he has an area showing that the billboard existed in 1974. He didn't share that with me. I don't have it. I have no idea if it's the billboard that was, the acute angle one or the flat one. It doesn't matter because what's there now is not what was there in 1968. Which means after 1968, the billboard was replaced with this existing billboard. But the property owner did not secure the zoning certification that was required beginning in December of 1967, and I have the resolution. So we know for a fact, right there, it violated the county code because they were required to get the zoning certification. And also, so that's one problem, that it never complied with the basic, even if the billboard that was in place in 1968 was legal, there's no way to know if it was or wasn't. It doesn't matter, that's not what's there today. And the one that's there today was done after 68, and they did not secure the zoning certification that had been required by the boards in 67. So A, that's a violation. B, according to Oxford 1074, but that's meaningless because by 1972, the billboard was completely prohibited anyway, right? Because of, or prohibited new billboards. And then, if you look at has lost the permit for it, but if you look at the number, Caltrans issues permits sequentially. So if you look at the number that was assigned for this property, it was issued in about 1984. Well, in 1984, Caltrans was prohibited by county code from approving the billboard that they did approve. So, and here's the interesting thing too, when you submit an application for a billboard, you certify on there that this, and it's been that way, every billboard that Caltrans has certified, it says approves, it says this, you certify that this billboard will be placed in compliance with the Outdoor Advertising Act, the state billboard law, as well as local zoning ordinances. So, and fine is you're testing that you will comply, and that you understand any false statements on this are grounds for revocation of your permit, right? So they knew completely that they submitted, whenever this thing was submitted, they were attesting that it would comply with local zoning ordinances. Well, it never did because it never got the zoning certificate. So they lied on their certification. So the whole permit, Caltrans permit was fraudulently obtained just from the get-go. So there's a lot of, in a separate letter will be going to the planning commission with all of this information, not from the town council. But there's a lot at stake in this, in this hearing because, like, you know, now we're fighting all the billboards, right? And the problems with this billboard, there's like 4 other billboards that were all permitted after 1950, and so therefore illegal. So this is the first hill to die on is that. But also, does the zoning code have any meaning whatsoever? Yeah. So I'm really hoping to come and comment on Tuesday. And if they can't, maybe they can call in on Wednesday. Excuse me, if they can't, maybe they can call in and comment. I can coordinate statements. I'm going to go down there, but it really is important that somebody else from the Acton Town Council would come. Oh, that would be great. I would love that. That would be awesome. I don't see any reason right now. Okay, thank you, Kelly. Anyway, so I spent a long time on that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to. Because we're doing an all-out assault on these billboards. We sent a letter a couple months ago. Every single billboard's illegal.
By principle, and I would say it's really clear. There's like no ambiguity to declare them not. They're declared them okay. It's just to completely flip the bird.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it makes no sense. Why is the county? Why is regional planning fighting us so hard on their own? Why are we the only ones who care about anything? You know, you look at City of LA, you look at other places, they have gone all in to get rid of this damn billboard. You have no idea what City Center Reed's done. They have gone to court.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the county.
Which owns these properties, right?
Yeah,
Exactly what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Who owns the property?
Where's that money coming? It's like, why do we have to fight so hard just to get there?
Yeah.
Let's implement, I don't. Yeah.
Like, where code is written when it's not being enforced. But then they're interpreting the code broadly on other things, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's where it's specific,
Yeah.
they're not
They're not actually.
enforcing that.
They're
Broadly enforcing.
Well, interpreting to their point. Well, they don't like, you know, we don't like that you're charging. I didn't know that like was part of anything. Like that, I didn't know that came in the equation.
That's true.
Like, well, I just mean like on this, like, well, I like the building, but that's why they're.
So are you guys okay with charging most of their houses that keep going ahead and complain about?
Here's the case with that though. That one is community serving, one is not. So if I invite them to this party,
I'm sure the guys who are running the party. They can
say what they want, but it's not true.
That's private, those are private parties.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is that even if they were charged.
We shut them down, if we found an advertisement that says, come and pay and go to my party, and I'm gonna, my house here is now a wedding venue, and you're allowed to come there and bring 100 people here, and you guys aren't okay with that though, right?
Correct, but you're talking about, you're splitting here. Because no,
They charge because people running a business on their residential property.
but that impacts the people around them.
So does the haunted house people.
If somebody actually complained, that's what we're getting into. It's like, well, we got a phone call. Okay.
I can swear that somebody asked me. Because they're driving, the customers, the patrons are driving on a private road and parking in front of other people's houses, so.
Yeah, so sometimes.
But that's what for Taco Bell to show up and parking the street and then have people lined up everywhere else. I'm just saying, this is
It's
crazy.
not stopped us from banning wedding venues in people's backyards. It's not, it's not.
I can't, the whole thing is nuts, because it's like, we're gonna,
If you guys are fine with wedding venues in backyards, that's fine. Just-
I don't know how many wedding venues from,
Now, I think there's a difference between, holiday celebration.
But they were for a couple of weeks ahead, there wasn't.
They did it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, they did it every night except for
And
Sunday.
if there was a community complaint, then it
And
has to.
they were advertising on Facebook themselves, so.
Yeah.
But then, don't mind if people are turning their houses into nightclubs.
That's gonna be on the agenda at the next meeting, so.
I can say 100%, I wouldn't mind if the county, like, enforced it, even if that would be great, so.
I brought that up because it's what we're gonna be discussing at the next meeting. I mean, the other thing has to be good for the youth, has to be good for the end.
Yeah.
One of the problems is how hard nosed they're gonna be, like the guy, I don't know which direction I'm facing, this guy who's running his property over here, it's a weekend thing. And he was just hard nosed, and we couldn't catch him without an advertisement of how it came out, so we had no proof that wasn't just his friends there. I think part of our finally shut him down, we
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I was one of the people that was thinking on zero.
Yeah,
But it was a different, theme of music, you'd see the tents come down on Sunday, and a new tent would come in on Wednesday. So if he was having his own parties, he wouldn't have been taking those tents down. He wouldn't have been paying somebody to up, down, up, down, up, down.
No,
Yeah, it was all just, you know.
the place that over Congo, that was a nightclub that was offering like free admission to women before 9 p.m. And he was part of the admission class. You got them shut down fast because they were doing it. It's advertisement. It's running business on your business.
There's underground party sites that.
That we have a hard time.
Yeah. Sure there are.
But I just wonder that if you say, oh, it's okay for them to charge admission to their house.
We never said that, donations, I don't mind if there's a little tip jar sitting there and anybody wants to put it in, they can,
Yeah.
they don't put one, but
But
it's
if parties can do the same thing, they can say, here, make your donation, right? And they can just, but they need, like Chuck was saying, they just have a tip jar, and that's what it's, you know, just tell people, oh, you want to make a donation, right, to the party, so, it's
I don't know until they said it, that they were taking money. I thought
They posted their own advertisements on Facebook.
oh, did they?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
On Facebook. Oh, okay, that's a little.
Yeah,
And it was the first year, this is the
It
first
was
year,
visible from the freeway. Yeah,
just decided to charge $5.
it could be, yeah.
Because I know they didn't do it last
And
year.
there's no law against for Christmas decorations, that would,
Right,
Halloween decorations.
that's why I need to know about the money.
Yeah.
electricity wise,
Yeah.
all these, especially with setting statements, but, yeah, it needs to just be more, probably more low key and.
Yeah, if they had it on Facebook saying, come here, and here are our hours of operation.
Yeah.
6 days a week, 6 nights a week, and here's what our admission price is per person.
Oh, you're kidding, they said that?
Oh, of course.
Well,
That's bad.
I guess there's two sides.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't like being told that story.
Well, the problem is that we sat there and we heard that. Oh my gosh.
Can you screenshot that and add it in?
You want that for the ATC?
Yes, that would be great. No, that's good.
Now, if they took it down and they were told to take it down, that's good.
Yeah, and I think they did. I think that's why they have that letter, because it's gone. It's a month, we gave it to them for the warning, and we check on it, so here, they probably went out there November 1st, and so nothing was there. Hands
They should have
down.
been
so-
proactive, they should have gone to their neighbors that would be affected and said, this is going to bother you. And if it is, and they should have said, we're gonna designate an area to park.
Yeah.
And, you know, because maybe found a place for people to park the cars that wouldn't affect the neighborhood so much. Yes. It is, I mean, listen, in Santa Clarita, there's a street in Valencia.
Yes.
It's Carolina cul-de-sac, and it's beautiful, the whole street, or just bumper to bumper from Thanksgiving weekend till New Year's. And it's insane. And if when you on that street, you basically have to sign a thing. Saying you're aware that this exists and that you'll either participate or you won't, which you'll tolerate.
You guys are ATC. AtCCouncil.org, right?
Yeah.
This is coming from a private, so it's CF Boston.
Oh, okay.
So that's.
I was just saying on the list. I see what Chuck is saying though about, it's like, what's good for this one is good for that one.
Yeah.
We have to be able to have discretion, because there are some things that are good.
And we can keep on with those that are clearly private venues, just for years.
Those private venues are gonna come back and say, why? Are you letting?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to be able to establish any clarity with any
Clarity, right.
So the point is like carving out things and saying, hey, it's community serving event, like community serving business, and community serving is different. That's why we don't say there's nothing community service. So there's a delineation, and it's crazy to me that on certain things, nothing gets done. Again, this all goes back to like the buildings. We're not going to enforce all this stuff, but we're going to enforce this. I just want to, so if the community says, no, we don't want this stuff here, cool, that's great, go ahead, then it is nothing.
Yeah.
So then, but it's not gonna be that, or there's an avenue to have delineation of what is okay, and what is not, no one thing or other, here, it's a free for all, what provisions is Blue Ranch of their events? I don't know. They have a lot of events there. Or the wineries, how many places have things where they are accepting money for admission to do things or renting it out? I don't know if this is. I'm not trying to cause them problems. I'm just saying, why are those okay? They advertise. I get a home advertisement probably 4 times a week.
Can I make a suggestion? Maybe it's that in conjunction with county, maybe a letter that can be drafted to reflect what's described as an acceptable gathering, like a wedding reception in your backyard once a year.
I think it's what's charging. It's charging admission. It's accepting money for Blue Ranch might have us.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they do.
Really? The reason why they're complaining to me about them is because the cars are parking in front of the neighbor's house,
Right.
and whatever noise they're making is a minimum, I'm guessing.
Right.
Maybe, but my point is like, okay, but if the laws, if they're saying, well, fine, we don't like either.
I'm not complaining about anything they do.
Correct. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's just like, there's a level of like,
Yes, how much you make your neighbors mad, that's really what it is.
yeah, but I don't know if that matters, because I've been mad a lot of my stuff.
I'd like to see that something be written up from the town council and county together and be disseminated to realtors in the area.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is you get people that move into this area, especially when the prices of properties went sky high, to other areas, and they went, oh, I know how I can fix my mortgage, I'm sure that. I'm gonna use my property to host events and make, and it was like an element that moved in within a 2-year period.
I think so, yeah.
And
I can look at when we get those complaints, I look and I go, oh yeah, they bought the house in 2021.
Yeah.
Here it is, and they go, I really can't afford this place, I'm gonna bring some extra cash, I got all this money. It was sitting here.
And it was like the Wild Wild West, there's nothing coming, they can use their property any way they wanted, right? And it's so like, and I think that our realtors could help, because when they have people coming and looking at local realtors that know the area, they can say, oh, by the way, we've had an issue out here, people having illegal venues on the property, so just so you know that's frowned upon and it will be shut down. So, if you let people know in advance, they're not going to be able to make income that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is how
there's no law against that, but it's like a notice from the community here. Yeah, this is from the community.
So I'll say you over there's something, because I've been waiting for a Spanish language one. There's something kind of advice to new home buyers that the county did come up with, and the Tina Carlo, the original planning was part of the drafting, because we have a trouble, people coming in and they buy some land, and the first thing they want to do is clear every piece of vegetation.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah, they said, oh, well, I moved in here and, yeah, I'm gonna rent out back half my property and park RVs on here, because I can just rent tags like that, it's no problem. And I can have a parties here a couple of times a month, and
if you were buying in a community with an HOA, the realtor would supply you with that.
Yes, right.
Would say, this is what the HOA, so that you know going into it, you know what your dues are gonna be, what your allowances are gonna be for your property.
I'm hopeful, but I also know that every one of these local builders sets aside for their stuff.
And so many people are not buying through a local realtor, certainly that's the dirt, the vacant land.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should, I think it's still a key.
I'll send you guys the flyer. That's, regarding, lighting, about that people move in.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that you're not supposed to have spotlights all around your house, because coyotes might come into your yard, or raccoons or possums or something.
You know, from the valley areas where somebody's gonna be lit up at night.
Yeah.
That when you move to Acton, you're almost taken back by a blur, you know, and it took, when I moved here 32 years old.
Yeah, me too.
But, you know, we don't have street lights in our neighborhood. But I noticed that people that move in first, they put up all these lights outside, and it's like Disneyland for about a year. Then slowly, when they get their electric bill, they start kind of, well, maybe let's make that strand lights, maybe take out that, maybe every other bulb.
Yeah, the people put up lights are usually pretty agreeable when code enforcement contacts as well. You know, you can't have this, you can have lights, but it's not be focused down. You can shine on it, it's probably, and they seem to be by and large agreeable, unlike the party venue people, who often will fight us as long as they can.
They're making budgets.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Kelly will be coming with you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to join?
I would not be able to come physically, there's a chance we'll call it.
Okay, so if you guys, so that I don't want to,
Yeah,
I don't want to write a script if I don't need to. But if you, yeah, just email the town council about it.
You know,
About what?
I'm going, do you want to go?
Yeah, I haven't checked my calendar, but I know.
Okay, so you let me know.
Like 6:30 in the morning, you said?
Probably sometime we'll be done by 7, yeah, because it starts at 9.
Well, it's not cool, I don't want to drive until.
No, that's fine.
It's stressful for me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Carpool is great. Thanks, Tuesday, yeah.
All right, thanks. Everybody share a topic, Bess?
Okay, we had a hearing scheduled for the franchise agreement for the fishing lines for October 29th, and then on October 28th at 9:30. Poor Chuck had to make that ready to call. They got him in bed, poor guy. He's like, what the hell did you chew me up? Well, anyway, after my jaw dropped on the floor and got again, I had just made 32 sandwiches.
Yes, there's all sorts of cool stuff, yes.
And scones, we had ones that are made on it.
They tell us, one of the buses go off, I hate the little lights, we scheduled to them, so,
Next Tuesday.
It's next Tuesday.
so, I don't think
And they were, oh, God.
I don't know.
And they were what?
They went to the bus.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes.
I will check with Susie,
No,
make sure.
I already got the confirmation.
Okay,
I was on that.
We had so many buses going back and forth there, I couldn't believe which one you said yes.
We're confirmed for 7:30, but if they schedule us for later in the day, I'd be happy to.
I think we can't figure out with format as the chairs for one. Yeah, that was.
She just discombobulated, what's the
I don't know. But she's going out pretty soon to be my boss, so.
She's pretty occupied.
Wait, she's gonna be your boss?
No, my boss, Supervisor Margaret's going to be the chair.
Oh. Okay, thank God, I was like, scared.
Yeah, no, I heard this thing, when you did, I was like, I'm
What?
they just like pass you guys around, like,
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
But they'll send me some, and then they'll see more because, the board letter was about 250 plus pages long, and because we're litigating something has to be responded to that was in that board letter, otherwise it's still its own challenge in court later on. So, Sorbs County came with a letter to respond to that 250-page letter, and there was a 10-day window of time in which that had to be accomplished, but it got submitted on, I believe, Sunday. Before the Tuesday night, on Monday, they went, plus. Yeah.
That's a legal term.
Oh, shoot, right?
A ton of art.
No, the second, what about this? And finally,
Yeah. And
9:40.
9:30 or 9:30.
11th hour almost.
And then also, kudos to our residents because we had 120 written residents in opposition of this project. I was so proud. I was crying the boo-hoo tears as I was counting them going through that. I was so proud of our community. So between what sort dropped, the 99 pages and all the letters in the community, and then of course there's things that are in the public comments that came from Haggerty and from Stantec and from a few letters to support that project. There's like 1,328 pages in the public comments. So I'm sure County kind of like, oh, crap, this is a lot. And decided that they needed to do and that's how I conveyed it to the residents, because residents were mad. I said, they're doing their due diligence. Yeah, well, you can make comments if you want, or you can just come and support and wear your best. Sure. And I will have some pre-written comments for people that didn't want to compose their own or wasn't sure what to say. I'll take that. Yeah, and I tried to make it a little shorter, a little more simplified. 1 minute.
So probably just gonna get, it's just like the,
As far as I know, it's 1, but it could be 2. But as far as I know, we're in 1 minute.
well, but if it's 2 agenda items, then that should be 2 minutes, but maybe it is just 1. I don't.
Yeah, I have.
It's probably 30 seconds.
Yeah.
She'll have to say all. Anyway, don't go beyond.
Okay, so that's happening, and I'm in touch with everybody, and if anybody knows anybody that would like to go, there's still some time.
Maybe on 76 station, right?
Oh, you did order
I
tickets?
let her know in
Okay,
advance.
I'll pay for it.
I let her know in advance, we need them for Monday afternoon. She hasn't responded back, but at least we can say we gave plenty of notice. Yeah, so the ion batteries are finally getting attention for the lack of safety on these things from Homeland Security. Homeland Security Science and Technology Subcommittee, the U.S. Fire Regulations, and FDNY had a workshop, and the three coordinated to talk about the large-scale use of lithium-ion batteries and how to keep communities safe. The focus was on understanding community risks, considerations with the expansion of energy storage across residential and commercial sectors, potential solutions for complex response, and actionable steps to support public safety and energy. So hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. They're going to be releasing a report in the near future, and I will be notified of that. I talked to Patty, who's with PNNL, and I told them, I said, I really like that report when it comes out. I said, well, make sure you get it. So anyway, so that's to me, what's disheartening about all this. I mean, it's good that Army's good that they're finally attacking this issue. It's just alarming to me that it's reactive instead of proactive. Like, where was the foundation of safety? Where was the understanding of the technology? Organized response. There is no accepted response to dealing with a lithium-ion battery. And where was all of this before they started pushing these damn projects out at breakneck speed? So many of them have already been built, and a lot of those have burned. You know, had incidents that disrupted commerce. You know,
And so many of these are not being reported. Like times, Edwards 3 times, got fired 3 times this year, and it's not rewarded.
But I'll say about that, because I've been thinking about that. Now, that's the Sanborn vest, and it's on part of the Edwards Air Force Base. It's out in Kern County in Milwaukee. And they had 3 fires over the summer. Now, why did we not hear about that? Because it didn't cause an activation. It didn't disrupt anybody's lives. Nobody was sheltered in place. And Jet says that's exactly where these things need to be. He's out in the middle of the desert, away from people, away from businesses that are going to be impacted, away from schools. If those 3 fires had happened at the human rescue, they would have been on the TV, you would have been evacuating. Yeah. Also, this is interesting. There's a company called CSA Group, and I tried in vain to find out what CSA stood for, but sure, it's a Canadian testing company that does codes and standards for Canada, US, and global applications. They are coming up with a testing standard 800, S800. It's for large-scale fire testing, and they will enforce fire conditions, and take into consideration higher wind speeds, simulating more real-life events and fire spread adjacent. Many authorities have jurisdiction, local governments are now requiring large-scale testing. This is supposed to go one step beyond UL 9540A, which we have those past 12 miles an hour on wind speed.
Yeah, they're just, because it frustrates me, because 9540A is so constrained that you're not allowed to have wind speeds exceeding 12 which means delusions, and the certification based on that procedure is completely unrealistic, because particularly in places like Acton, where the wind speed is it's now on every day is that way. So, everybody, these clowns are telling the board of supervisors, it's never going to spread, there's never going to be any problem. That's a lie, because that statement is based on 9540 students that people below 12 miles an hour.
And what they're saying about the reason for that 12 miles an hour is that they don't want to affect the results of the test by having possibly cooling conditions from higher wind speeds. But realistically, you've got flames, jetted. They come out like jetted fluids, right? But when you've got those happening and you've got a 30-mile-an-hour wind,
it lays down flat and it's a 20-foot line.
Right, and this is what this CSA group is testing for. They're going to force that thing to burn, because sometimes in the UL 9540A, they just get off gas and they don't necessarily get fire. So this test is going to force fire. They're going to make sure that sucker burns, regardless of how the fire started, whether it's an external brush fire that comes through, or whether it's caused from an internal cellular reaction and it goes to a runaway. They're going to force a fire event. I'm going to be if there's going to be propagation.
Right, and this issue is what makes what Thais said in that forum full of garbage, because he said, it doesn't matter how big your vest is, there's no risk of burn. Well, we already know for a fact that when the wind speed exceeds 12 miles an hour, more than one will burn. That is exactly what happened in Australia. That's why 2 burned in Australia, because the wind speeds were 20 miles an hour. So you're going to have a whole slew of them burn. And then once 2 go, 4 go, 8 are going to go. And then do you have any idea what the toxic cloud, the size of that toxic cloud is? It's going to be,
It's so not for what you're telling me. And I said, exactly.
well, you're going to be in our community.
I said, yeah, I said, you're going to pick a state chemistry. You have a lot of money invested in that, And you don't want a battery malfunction to break down. I said, so why would we want these batteries, hundreds of thousands of them? And I'm now of the mindset, and I could be wrong, but I honestly believe that the government purposely withheld truthful information from LA County.
Oh, yeah.
Because they still are. All these authorities having jurisdiction, all these local governments are being forced to try they're planners, they've never had to deal with battery chemistries. And the developers know darn well that these batteries are toxic, that they're fire prone, that they can explode, that they go with a thermal runaway, they know all that. But they sell their project as, oh, the LFP, the lithium iron phosphate, so say, oh, that lithium ion is so yesterday, we don't do that anymore. Well, lithium iron phosphate is lithium ion. Yes. It is the same family of battery chemistry. There's, difference in the cathode. It's small, but they're big toxic when they burn.
But it infuriates me also, because they are applying to the board. Even though that just 3 weeks ago, where they said, it's just a few cabinets, and the cabinets are about the size of a refrigerator freezer.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a few cabinets, it's 440 huge cabinets. It's like, what that I cannot wrap my mind around is these lies are complete, right? But they're from Stantec's contractors lie all the time. They pay their clients supposed to track that. I'm sorry, they do. I ought to know, because I'm one of them. I don't lie, but I have spent a lot of time uncovering lies told by other contractors. They get paid to make their client look good, no matter what they sell the product. What infuriates me is Public Works just parroted everything that Stantec said and told it to the board, and it's flat out lie.
And the board relies upon regional planning in Public Works for them to know the facts. Yes, but they didn't pursue the information that they needed to really have the truth, because they were relying on the developers.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's sad, and it's happening. I think in 2021, a lot of projects got approved, and then in 2022, we started seeing fire events because these projects were coming online. And operational, even when they were being tested to be operational, they were starting to have fires. So all of a sudden, when people were like, oh, lithium ion, I hear they have fires. And so people are starting like, oh, they're starting to hear and be more familiar. And the projects are just becoming more, they're proliferating across the state of California. And a lot of communities now have started to our residents come and say, you know all these things, we've heard, we've read, we've seen. And so the local governments are having to, let's say, well, let's hear them out, let's see what they got. So they're putting them through a very tedious process. To say it's a little bit more than you could, a project you could want to fence. Like the county did. Go try to jump, but that was ridiculous. They're, doing longer vetting processes, and 3 projects, one in San Juan Capistrano, one in Bonneville, and just recently one in Morro Bay, pulled out of local approvals out to the CEC, AB 205, or an operating process. Now, little do they know that actually the CEC process is quite stringent, and it could take months for them to be deemed vacation. And part of that is that they have to come up with a community benefits plan that's executable and written, basically written and executed before they can be deemed a complete application. And then the 270-day process starts from that point. So it still could take a year and a half for them to get approved through the CEC. The thing is that these developers know that the communities are already opposed to their project. And so they have to be very stealth and very sly. And they have to go around and find some obscure group, some labor group that has no clue that their local community is opposing this project, or their big thing is they go to the local tribes, go to the tribes and say, oh, we're going to give you this and do that for you. And if of course, I've been a big mouthpiece on social media, and I'm with the community leaders of these other communities that are fighting like we are. I said, this is when you dig in and you find every church, sport group, social social club, 501c4, anything in your community, labor group, local tribes, anything that can be construed as somebody who accept a donation. I said, you make sure they know that your community is a club. And I said, because they can't find somebody, a pigeon, to take their community agreement, their offering of a donation, they can't be deemed complete. They won't get their application like stamped and start the process. So that's the only thing that the public can do to stop them. And I'm sure that depending on what happens with the humidor, that we could see Angelino go to the CDC process, and we will be on that like oil and rice.
Don't they have to do the CEQA?
Yes,
No,
they go
they
through
call it
a streamlined environmental review. They have 270, the application being complete, the end process is.
But the application has to include everything that the state requires.
And the
So
270
that
days
takes a
don't
little
start until the application is deemed complete.
And we still get to.
Yes, public comment is, yeah, you get formal public comment, it's scheduled, and we won't be left out of that process, and we were left out of this process. I mean, honestly, we've been left out of this process.
Well, I mean, we are being, the franchise agreement, we are all in. We are, yeah, but you're right.
You know, you feel totally left out of the human events.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
The community didn't even know about it until
You didn't know it was approved till 3 months after it was, yes.
that's all I got.
Yeah, but the thing that gets me is the logic behind it all, because as I was getting, like Jeremy, getting all these emails and texts about shutting off your electricity because we want to be safe. We want to make sure you're safe and your community's safe. And then at 8:20 p.m. on Wednesday night, it went out. And I'm sitting there in the dark, I'm going, oh, they're going to build the best plant.
Yeah.
So they can send electricity to Frisco and to LA, but they're shutting off my electricity
Because it's not
to make me safe.
Yeah, they can't turn those off. Like, that's what gets me with this too, is that it's just, it's like, they're there. It's like saying, like, oh, I'm gonna cut the fuse off. It's still bomb, like, it's still gonna ignite, it can still go off. Just because you know, there's no disarming them or anything that's gonna stop that. So when the winds are 20 miles an hour on Wednesday, because that seems to be the mode of operation with every vest that's around, is at least there's some fire.
So that catches fire, and I have no way of knowing because I have no TV, I have no radio, I have no internet. And
But you're safe.
in the hill.
Those big yellow sirens they had in the valley, during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're gonna put one of those in. And turn that sucker on.
Yeah, I have no water on my property for the fire department to use to put out the help from the fire.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like if the county could do it all over again, they would do it differently. But they're in too deep with this, they have to see it through. And hopefully the courts will, set everybody straight.
They have been able
Yeah.
to approve it.
Yeah, they do. But now, anything that's of interest, like whether it's information about the workshop that was held with FEMA, about the came across an article about Cradle to Grave with lithium-ion batteries. It was really interesting about the mining and the toxicity there and the human health issues that go on, and then taking it all the way through the fires that they cause, and then getting it through the difficulty in recycling and reclaiming those minerals and things getting into landfills. And so it's an interesting article. I sent all of that to the county, to Mark and Katie. They're the team that are working on the best siting ordinance. And does that all get into the record?
Sure.
Everything that I send to the county?
Especially if you say, please consider this as you write the ordinance, yeah. It's all part of it, yeah.
And they always send me,
Right.
they always send me a confirmation that they got it and they. should entirely hearing from me, but that's like, so that.
That's a good job, it's good.
I feel like I'm tired of hearing from you. Well, I'm educating the residents, but I feel like I'm also educating Mark and Katie. Because they're no different than the rest of us, they really didn't know anything.
Yeah, they're not better to this.
Yeah, they're not, and they are right now. But the local government, not just county, but any
Yes.
county government should not be expected to be a battery expert.
Yes.
Or, I feel like the developers have some culpability here for not really telling the developers, the government, what these batteries are about. It's about time that lithium-ion take a backseat on a large scale, because they're just not safe. That's it. You want to put them in your cell phone, you want to put them in your laptop, you want to put them in your kid's Barbie Jeep. Whatever, fine.
We may see a shift coming January in some of this because the tariffs that are going on lithium, 99% of lithium stuff's coming out of China anyway.
Now that for large scale battery, not until 2026. So for 2025, it's for smaller, but for large scale batteries like your best storage and that, those are
Especially
considered.
that issues, that means for 2025, they're about to be fire sale cheap because they want to move as many. Literally fire sale.
Literally. They're just toxic. Oh, and there's other alternatives, so.
But it seems like other communities are getting more educated because I've read something extensive about San Diego is their city council, I'm not sure.
They had well projects in the pipeline wanting to file applications for permits.
And they put a hold on it.
And didn't they have 3 of them caught?
Yeah.
And because of the stuff that's going on in San Diego County, the Seguro, which is the one that's kind of on the top now to be built, that's getting big opposition. But there's a medical center that was being asked to provide an easement for the transmission line, and they refused. Because they said, how will we get all how will we evacuate this multi-story medical center? Right, it's land. So it sounds to me like Seguro may not end up going in where they want to put it, they want to put it, but,
Well, you can get a plan, it's still like practically.
Right.
How are you going to practically?
You gotta really.
Yeah, especially when you start getting winds blowing. I mean, that changes the whole dynamic. It's not it's about transitions from like a single best fire into a brush fire.
Yeah.
And blows straight down the Now, the toxic fumes are one thing, but now they're on fire. So
I feel like they're just conflating. And either it's, battery storage or no battery storage. Well, that doesn't have to be the choice. So it can be battery storage, non-lithium.
Yes.
Right? Non-lithium technology. Or lithium and out of the area, not near.
These all
It's a huge buffer.
Yeah, or distributed, though, not 1,000 megawatts, but 5 megawatts, and it's like, stupid.
Well, it's the same where they located the one in Candy Country.
It was approved in 2021 during COVID. I'm sure they had a little thing in the paper this big noticing that they're going to be bringing it to the city council and planning commission. There was ladies there that spoke up because they lived nearby and they were nervous about this thing, as they just filed should be. But in 2021, there wasn't a lot of incidents because there wasn't a lot of facilities built out. And in 2021, that's when we started building all these things. And now we're starting to have events, and the more projects that are completed that come online, the more opportunity we're going to have single install.
Well, also, as this, the probability of igniting increases significantly.
And another thing I learned about lithium iron phosphate is it's very difficult because of the arc wave of lithium iron phosphate. It's very difficult for them to know what their stable charge is.
Yep.
Very difficult. And compared to lithium ion, which they've been saying sales 30% or 40%, but with lithium iron phosphate, it's difficult for them to know if they're, very low on charge or they're higher end of charge.
And if you overcharge litho just a little bit, you substantially increase the likelihood of fire,
Right.
beyond what you get with regular lithium ion.
Because that's fire breaks down.
That's why the litho's are light. Yep. That's why the litho's are so much more dangerous than non-years of others, but.
So when a developer lies and says, which Deputy does on a regular basis, oh, there's misinformation out there about our project. And what they're saying is, we're not using lithium ion, we're using lithium iron phosphate. Although the words never came out of their lips.
No, yeah.
I've still never heard them say
Correct.
that there's, I've asked them.
No, I think pictures of their little thing here, we have lithium ion on
Yes.
the ones in this room.
Well, the approved site plan says LFP.
Yeah.
So that's what they were planning on using, because I asked them point blank, they said, oh, reach out to us, by email and ask your questions. I asked them, what battery chemistry are you using? Oh, the latest and the greatest, and, it'll be fire tested and, state of the art. Like, that's not what I asked. They're liars. They're just,
They are liars. They're
how many shades of liar can you tell them is, right?
They're finding out.
Yeah. I'm just over their lives, and they're gonna have all their guys, their yellow vests,
Their board doesn't use either.
and they're gonna have all those guys in the little yellow vests talking about all the great jobs they're gonna do.
Yes.
These are temporary jobs.
They're gonna say stuff like, a best fire is like a soap fire.
And that's what we just overcharge them on the floor there, down there. That to say, if you don't have anything to worry about, we're doing this right now.
Yeah, believe it. I do want to point out one thing that would really infuriates me is, and because the guy did it at the last meeting, at the hearing in December, for the appeal. Some guy's gonna stand up again and say, and he said it also on October 8th, right, when they started this. A best fire is nothing more than a sofa fire, right? But I want to set the record straight here, because the report that line came from actually doesn't say a best fire is like a sofa fire. And even though Stantec told that to Public Works has told that to the Board of Supervisors, that a best fire is like a sofa fire. What the report actually says is a smoldering lithium ion cell.
Yeah, one cell.
One cell is like a sofa fire. And a BESS is hundreds of thousands,
This is a
millions of
factory
BESS.
fire, yeah.
Exactly, so it's like a million, it's like, so big, so the board now has it, the actual report where it says that, because some clown is gonna stand up next week and tell the board, hey, it's just like a BESS fire, it's just like a sofa fire. And this is a
Perfect location for a sofa fire, that's what I said.
No, they're gonna say this is the perfect location, but it's perfect for the developer,
Yes.
because it's close to the substation.
Yeah.
Perfect for them, because it'll be a minimal investment to run the transmission. But because if there's smoke goes into the air, it causes the 500 kilovolt transmission lines are melt, the insulators melt, the electrical circuits, everything short circuits, it can go all the way to
I
west of the United States, it can go south, it can go, it's.
It'd be a fitting end to everything to have that happen. It'd be terrible.
yes.
But nobody, it's like, close your ears shut. It's like, county is burying their head in the sand on this. They don't want to hear the truth.
No one's gonna be personally held liable for any property.
Okay.
The companies will go bankrupt and cease to exist.
Yeah.
The county is indemnified about themselves, and just, we learned from this and move on. Meanwhile, it'll be,
That franchise agreement indemnifies the county thoroughly.
yes.
And then when they tell the developer, oh, you have to have insurance for ground soil, groundwater contamination, any kind of contaminated.
Yeah, it's like this bankrupt too. I mean, how many things have we seen where things go bankrupt and then everybody, it don't matter.
And they have a separate LLC for every
Yes.
project they build, because that way they can just cut and run.
Yes, yes.
Cut and run.
Like I said,
No need pockets there.
no one's going to be in jail.
No, it's a storefront, little shop, it's what, it's a best office.
All right, we should.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay, I know there's a lot to, minutes?
Minutes, I will give them all to you at the next meeting. I have the last two meetings written. Pretty much I just have to add Jackie's notes.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry, Mike.
And no, I'm right, and I'll do all of them. I'll have them to you, let's vote on them in January, so there's plenty of time over the holiday.
Okay.
To read them, take notes. So everything that's outstanding, I'll even do the last one that's in August, that's, or September that's outstanding. Okay? Thank you.
All right. Councilmember comments, we'll just do, anybody has any?
Welcome, Don.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I mean, well done. It's so nice to see you, Don.
Thank you. Do you have anything else pressing? If not, we'll go. Sean, okay. Let's keep moving. Here, so education, nothing, planning, coordinating, Jackie?
I don't have to.
Okay, publicity, finance, ways, means, and income?
No.
Okay, community standards?
No.
Okay, open space? Yeah. Utilities, just the best stuff.
Yeah.
Bylaws, Kelly?
No.
Okay, emergency response, anything good?
Yes, but did you, home-based birth supervisors, that she okayed or they approved that those vendors should be there, to be out there earning their income or working? I saw on Facebook on Sanitary Valley News.
Is this something with emergency response?
No, because you had council member.
Oh, yeah, we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just respond, I had I attended the flood risk webinar for the unincorporated areas of Acton, and North City.
Okay.
It's called Managing the Risk This Upcoming Storm Season. Very interesting.
Anything?
And they talk about the flood waters and the drains and show the pictures of, Acton. Nothing, Apollosa seems to be a neighborhood that's
Doesn't have flooding problems?
nothing wrong with that community. Mostly here, pictures of downtown and everything else.
Did they have any suggestions or just telling people to be aware of?
Be aware, and they talked about certain things, but they didn't give any specifics as to
What to do?
yeah. And you can't stop the flood, they said. It's there it comes. There are some things like that. What they didn't see to look or, come down this way. And then we're still attending the search training classes at the fire department in LA County. And we did that thing down twice already. We did 2 drills already.
Wow.
We check us a day in December, every Tuesday. And from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So if you don't hear me on Tuesday for our Wednesday meeting, it's because I'm over there and I can't leave my cell phone on.
Okay.
To find out about the other. It was very good because they teach you to triage mass casualties. I've never heard anything about the best thing, something happens like that. Because they said they are in a program for the firefighters, the new service, totally kind of how to deal with it because they don't know what to do, they said. Yes, I said, oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Comforting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're working hard on that part because they know that they're first responders. Not me, but them.
And once the project is approved, they'll have to do a response action plan. And they do that with the fire department involved, but
Right.
it doesn't have a community.
No,
It won't be a plan for us. It will be a plan for our fire department. I want to know, I want all the community, the
right,
residents.
right. We don't have that one yet. And then, I went to that thing you're talking